So I'm standing on a bog at the moment near our Dalby Mountain Nature Reserve, and I just wanted to share with you all the lovely things that are happening on the bogs at the moment. So we've got lots of plants coming into flower at this time of year. Where I'm standing, we've got the hare's tail cotton grass, which is a single head on the cotton grass. We also have nearby the common cotton grass, which has multiple flower heads, but that tends to make them at hillside look lovely and snowy white in the spring and summertime, and it's really beautiful at the moment. We also have some sphagnum, which is obviously a main component of bogs. It's been quite dry recently, so the sphagnum's been looking dry in places, but here it's still quite wet, and we can see some lovely sphagnum down here amongst all the rushes and the grasses. So if I just focus in on that, you can see the little red sphagnums here. These are called Sphagnum rubellum, and they're quite common on the island and on bogs. They sometimes give a lovely red colour in the autumn. We've also got a Sphagnum palustre here. So it's a bit of a chunkier sphagnum, and again it's quite common on the bogs on the island, and these sphagnums are good for building peat. They're nice and chunky, hold lots of water, and they form in big hummocks as well, which helps to raise the water table and stop all the vegetation from decomposing fully and thereby forming peat. So we have a nice little hummock of sphagnum here amongst the heather. You can also hear there's lots of bird song at the moment, and I did hear a cuckoo just a few moments ago, but not for a little while now. The insects are starting to come back to life as well, and buzzing around, which is nice. Now you might be able to hear the sound of running water, which would seem to be a bit strange after the long dry spell we've had, but it's actually coming from this drain here, which was dug probably to drain the peatland. There's quite a lot of them over the island, but they take water off the land more quickly and dry out the peat. The theory being it's better for grazing. However, obviously drying out the peat isn't great. It leads to the erosion of the peat. It's also not great for flooding, because taking the water off the land more quickly can lead to flooding. You can see there's still a fair amount of water here in amongst all the soft rush. I'm on a slightly drier part of the bog now, and I just want to show you some of the deer grass we have here. So you can see this older stuff here is last year's growth, and in the middle amongst it we've got the new growth from this year, and it's obviously much smaller and greener at the moment and has little flower heads at the end. The reason I'm walking around the bogs at the moment, and the hills generally, is that I'm measuring the depth of the peat at 150 metre intervals. So the way I'm doing this is using this depth probe, and when I get to my survey point I just press it into the ground as far as it will easily go, and then when I take it out I measure how deep it went, and that will be the depth of the peat. So the peat in this area is about 65 centimetres, which is classed as a good covering of peat. Anything over 40 centimetres is a good covering. Further up the hill slope, it's quite shallow. Now whether that's because it hasn't formed in the first place or it's been cut is unclear at the moment, but I think there's a good chance it's because it's been cut. There is quite a lot of good bog vegetation up there, so it would be strange to think it hadn't grown at all. So in the past, obviously, it was used as a fuel, so that's why people cut it. It also gets burned periodically for heather management, and often drained as well. So that's possibly why there's not so much at certain places.